Imagine if we could step into the mind of a literary giant and unlock the secrets behind one of fiction's most beloved characters. That's precisely what we're going to do today. We'll take the psychological key crafted by Jacques Lacan and unlock the inner world of Pierre Bezukhov from War and Peace. Our mission? To shed light on how a 19th century Russian nobleman's struggles are more than just a personal journey. They're a universal exploration of what it means to be human. War and Peace is not just a book, it's a world. Written by Leo Tolstoy, this novel is like a vast mural depicting the grand stage of history and the intricate details of individual lives. It's celebrated for its exploration into the human spirit, as well as its rich array of characters whose lives are a microcosm of the human condition. Within its pages, we find love, loss, joy, suffering, and the relentless pursuit of purpose. But what happens when we view this world through the sharp lens of psychoanalytic theory? It's like putting on a pair of glasses that brings everything into focus. Suddenly, the actions of a character like Pierre Bezukhov start to make sense in a whole new way. We begin to see the invisible forces that drive the characters towards their destinies, and this isn't just an academic exercise. It's an exciting way to connect with the story on a deeper level, making the old, new, and the familiar strange and intriguing. Let's start with a snapshot of the man behind the masterpiece. Leo Tolstoy was born in 1828 in Russia into an aristocratic family. He wasn't just a writer, he was a bit of a rebel. Over his lifetime, he would be a soldier, a teacher, and a kind of philosopher. He had a knack for asking big questions about life and wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo. His life was as rich and as interesting as the characters he created. Tolstoy was someone who thought deeply about right and wrong. He believed in a simple, honest way of living and was critical of the excesses in society. He was concerned with issues of morality and inner life, and he even had his own take on Christianity, focusing on love and personal ethics over institutional rituals. His beliefs weren't just theories, they shaped his life choices, like his decision later in life to give up some of his wealth. Now, think about the times Tolstoy lived in. Russia was going through a lot of change, dealing with the fallout of wars and wrestling with questions of power and morality. War and Peace is set against this backdrop. It reflects Tolstoy's world. The novel doesn't just tell a story, it gives us a panoramic view of Russian society, and it mirrors the turmoil and transformation of the era. In it, Tolstoy pours his own questions about life, power, and morality into the lives of his characters. In short, Tolstoy gives us a window into his soul with War and Peace. As we flip through its pages, we glimpse the times he lived in and the ideals he stood for. With each character's decision, we see Tolstoy's own struggles and beliefs, and that's what makes it so unique. It's not just history, it's Tolstoy's heart and mind painted onto the canvas of his country's past. Meet Jacques Lacan, a French thinker who left a significant mark on psychology. Born in 1901 in Paris, he became a psychiatrist, but he was also a bit of a celebrity in the intellectual circles of France. Picture a man who loved to stir up some drama in psychology, challenging how we understand the mind. Lacan was that person. He was known for his charismatic lectures and for turning difficult ideas into conversations that could captivate a room. Let's look at some of the key concepts of Lacanian psychoanalysis. The first being the mirror stage. Imagine a baby seeing itself in the mirror for the first time. According to Lacan, this moment is enormous when we first see ourselves separate from the world. It's the beginning of our personal identity, but also the start of a lifelong journey of trying to see where we fit in. Another of Lacan's concepts is the symbolic, the imaginary, and the real. And these are three layers of how we experience the world. The imaginary is that mirror stage where our sense of self is forming. The symbolic is like the big rule book of society. We learn the language, norms, and the roles we're supposed to play. And the real lies beyond our understanding, the mysteries of life that we can't quite put into words or fully grasp. Lacan also had some thoughts on desire and lack. We all want things in life, right? Lacan says that desire is part of being human, but it's tricky. It's not just about wanting this or that, it's about wanting what we think will make us complete. We're all driven by a sense of something missing, and that keeps us going forward. And the final concept of Lacan's that we'll apply today is the name of the father. And this is Lacan's way of talking about the power structures we're born into, the laws and authorities that shape our lives. It's not just about our dads. It's about the broader forces that tell us this is how things are done. Lacan's ideas have made waves beyond psychology, especially in how we analyze stories and characters. And in literature, his theories help us ask, how do characters come to see themselves? How do they navigate the rules of their world, and what are they really after? And what's stopping them from getting it? Using Lacan's concepts, we can get under the skin of literary figures and see a bit of ourselves in them too. Using Lacan's map of the human psyche, we're equipped to take a closer look at our favorite characters in a novel like War and Peace and understand them in a way that's insightful, fresh, and deeply human. All right, let's get the story straight. War and Peace is a big book, and I mean big in all senses. It's got a lot of pages, a lot of characters, and a lot of heart. It's set during the Napoleonic Wars and follows Russian society as they deal with love, loss, and the upheaval of war. And at its core, it's about people trying to find their way through battlefields, ballrooms, and the quiet moments that make up a life. This book is like a rich stew of themes: the chaos of war, the search for meaning, the struggle for societal change, and the power of personal growth. The characters, they are unforgettable. You'll meet Pierre Bezukhov, the big-hearted but bumbling heir to a fortune, Natasha Rostova, who grows from a giddy girl into a profound woman, and Prince Andrei Bolkonsky, who is searching for glory but finds something entirely different. These characters and many others show us the full spectrum of what it means to be human. And one of the magic tricks of War and Peace is how Tolstoy fuses actual historical events with the fictional lives of his characters. You'll be walking through the Battle of Borodino, feeling the ground shake under you, and then you'll slip into a quiet drawing room where a heart is being broken. Tolstoy doesn't just tell us about history. He lets us live it through the eyes of people who feel as real as you and me. And it's a book that makes history personal and the personal historic. In short, War and Peace isn't just a novel. It's a journey through a time of epic change seen through the eyes of those living it. And it shows us no matter how big the world's events are, the human story is always about hearts and souls that navigate it. Let's chat about Pierre Bezukhov, one of the most intriguing folks you'll meet in War and Peace. He's kind of an odd duck, awkward, clumsy, and thrust into high society where he inherits a fortune. But what's cool about Pierre is that he's searching for something real, something authentic in a world that often feels fake and superficial. Now let's apply Lacan's mirror stage to Pierre's search for self-identity. Pierre is a textbook case for Lacan's mirror stage, except he's stuck in it longer than most. He's always trying to figure out who he is. Is he the wealthy count, the social misfit, the seeker of truth? Throughout the novel, we see Pierre looking at reflections of himself and society and others, and in his own actions, trying to piece together his identity. Then there's Lacan's idea of the symbolic order, the rules of the game in society, and these can be applied to Pierre's societal conflicts. Pierre doesn't fit neatly into any of the roles expected of him. He has the title and the money, but not the manner. He's supposed to be a societal leader, but he's more interested in figuring out what life's about. And this clash is at the heart of many of his troubles. Desire and lack? Pierre's got those in spades. He's the guy who has everything but feels empty. Lacan would say Pierre is driven by a desire for something missing in his life. And throughout the novel, he's chasing this feeling of completeness, whether it's through love, friendship, or spiritual quest. And we can also apply Lacan's the real with Pierre's experiences with war and mortality. War throws Pierre into Lacan's real, the raw, often painful reality beyond words. War strips away all the pretenses and forces Pierre to confront life and death in their most brutal forms. And it's in these moments that Pierre faces the parts of existence that are beyond the neat explanations of society. And finally, Pierre's relationship with Lacan's name of the father, or the structures of authority and power, is pretty rocky. He inherits this colossal legacy, but it's a mixed blessing. It comes with a bunch of strings that tug him into the very games he's not sure he wants to play. And in summary, looking through Lacan's eyes shows us a man wrestling with big questions about who he is, what he wants, and how to live a meaningful life amid the expectations and chaos of the world around him. It's a journey full of bumps, but that's what makes it so interesting and so incredibly human. In the labyrinth of his youth, Pierre stumbles through life's grand ballroom with a clear sense of disorientation. Tolstoy presents him as an individual in the throes of what Lacan would identify as the mirror stage, yet Pierre remains trapped here, grappling with his formation of his I. His existential quandaries echo the perpetual discontent Lacan suggests stems from a fractured identity. Quote, Pierre was filled with doubts, unquote. His life, replete with opulence and possibility, feels hollow, a textbook example of Lacan's concept of lack. Pierre's relationships are mirrors reflecting varied aspects of himself, navigating between the imaginary realm of his desires and the symbolic realm of social order. His friendships, like those with André and Anatole, represent his flirtation with different societal roles and expectations. Quote, he involuntarily regarded his whole life as something new and strange, unquote. And this suggests his ongoing struggle with the symbolic order, society's unwritten rules which he is expected to but cannot fully embrace. War strips Pierre of his illusions, hurling him into Lacan's The Real, where life's stark truths cannot be linguistically tamed. As he sees the Battle of Borodino, he's confronted with a brutal authenticity that transcends his earlier dilemmas. Quote, he did not see, did not hear, did not understand anything around him, unquote. This is a pivotal Lacanian moment where Pierre meets the limits of his understanding and the breakdown of the symbolic order. In his catharsis, Pierre moves toward a reconciliation with his own sense of lack, an essential part of Lacanian desire. Pierre's insanity consisted in the fact that he did not wait as before for personal reasons, which he called his inner struggles, to end. Here, Tolstoy articulates Pierre's shift from a life of inner turmoil to one of acceptance. Pierre embraces his incompleteness, finding solace in the inherent lack that Lacan posits as central to human existence. And in this light, Pierre Bezukhov's evolution is not just a tale of personal growth, but an allegory of the Lacanian human condition wherein the journey toward recognizing and embracing one's own fragmented nature is paramount to achieving a semblance of peace. All right. Let's wrap this up and remember what we've chatted about. We've seen how Pierre Bezukhov from War and Peace is a prime example of a character wrestling with identity, desire, and his place in the world, all through a Lacanian lens. And from his mirror stage dilemmas to his dance with the real during the war, Pierre's story is as powerful as it is psychoanalytic. Applying Lacan's ideas to characters like Pierre does more than just dissect their actions. It opens up a whole new way to think about what drives people in literature and maybe even in our own lives. It's like having a new set of glasses to examine why characters do what they do and what that tells us about the human experience. If this has piqued your interest, there's plenty of reading to do. Lacan and Literature, the Purloined Text by Ben Stoltzfus is a solid read, and Elizabeth Wright's psychoanalytic criticism, a reappraisal,